And this segment is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook and app. Number one is safe, but number two, my man Deke, it's reliable and most importantly secure, because we don't play when it comes to our money. I know you do not play when it comes to money.
I don't mess around.
Not at all. In DraftKings, they are just like you in that regard. And the thing that I also love about DraftKings is this, man. For all the first-time users out there, trust me, it's a lot of first-time users out there. We once were first-time users as well. But for all the first-time users, if you use the promo code Moats, that's MOATS, you will receive up to $1,000 in deposit bonus money. So if I were to tell you that if this is your first time doing this, all you got to do is use a promo code, you receive up to $1,000 in deposit bonus money, you would think that's a good deal, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, and it's just free money for an opportunity to win more money. That's a win-win.
And it makes your Sundays fun, or any day that football is being played.
It could be a Wednesday. You never know, right?
Exactly.
So stop wasting time. Download the app, use the promo code, and let's get an opportunity to make some money. Their defense, man. We talked about the defense a little bit earlier in the year. They have a great front. They get after quarterbacks. Chase Young leads it, but Montez Sweat, Ryan Kerrigan, dude, they come in waves, bro. And it's good to see because obviously outside of their front, the front is where they're most talented at, but they have good players on their defense. I mean, even their linebackers, you talk about Thomas Davis, John Bostic is a guy who played here. They're not going to wow you at this stage, but you talk about fundamentally sound, you talk about getting lined up, not missing tackles. Those guys give you that. And then they got my young JMU boy in the secondary, Jimmy Moreland. Shout out to my dog, Jimmy, man.
I was going to say their cornerbacks are pretty good too.
Yeah. Like the thing is, they don't have a ton of like all pro, like how we talk about our defense in Baltimore's defense, where it's loaded Pro Bowlers, all pros. They are that next tier where they have really good players, but they don't have the plethora of high-end talent just yet.
Young
across the board.
Guys.
They got young talent, guys that could grow into that. Chase Young, he could become a TJ Watt type. Montez Sweat, now that he's healthy, he could become a Bud Dupree type. We know what Ryan Kerrigan is. Ryan Kerrigan. He's the wily vet. He's like their version of Cam Hayward, just not as productive at this stage right now. But he's just a consistent guy. You know what he is. But the rest of the guys, like you said, they're just younger players they could grow into that. Ronald Darby, he's another guy where it's like we've seen him be successful, but he's not Steven Olsen or Joe Hayden, but he's a good corner though. You see, so that's what their team is. So they're not an easy win. We're not saying that at all, but it's one of those opponents where if we execute, we win this game.
Yep.
We can't go out there and play like how we played the other night. That's not going to work. But if you go out there, you play and you execute the way they're capable of, you take care of business against Washington. Washington, they're going to be a tough out. But us playing to our potential, we still should win this game convincingly.
We talked about game plan last time. Does it change? What are you thinking? We throw the ball 45, 50 times and then just hope we get these red zone problems worked out.
I mean, you hope we all hoping, I guess. Sheesh.
I feel like that's it. I feel like that's the game plan.
You said 45 times. Been through it, 50 times, right?
50.
Yeah, because it was at 51. So, throw it 51 times again. Yeah, sure. Can't hurt.
You don't think? We trying the run game? But that's what I mean. Their defensive line compared to Baltimore.
Thing, honestly, even though we're still struggling running the ball, you cannot abandon it. That's all. That's my thing. I don't care as much as hard as it is to fix. You still have to find ways to fix that because, like I said, even Baltimore yesterday, when we broke down that game, we broke it down as if that was regular full strength Baltimore across the board. That was nowhere near full strength Baltimore, and we saw what we looked like. So for me, I feel like you still have to go to the lab and figure out the best way to run the ball. Okay, we've tried it with the different formations. Okay, we still weren't really committed to it. We didn't see a lot of shifts and motions when they tried to run the ball yesterday. We didn't see any of that. For some reason, they don't want to go to that. Okay, fine.
That's when we're not lining up in shotgun or
Correct,
even when we are?
So, a little bit of both because we've seen them under center and in the gun use some of the shifts and motions to ultimately open up the running game. For some reason, they don't want to go back to that. So, all right, cool. We're not going to go to that. You got Derek Watt. He's healthy. They were using him a little bit in the passing stuff, which is kind of weird. I know they highlighted on the interception where he was open and stuff like that. that's not his game per se. I feel like if you're going to use him, you use him to block and you run the ball with him.
Well, I was curious about that because he was wide open, but that can't be the first read, right?
Heck no. I was going to say. Heck no, bro. That's why I was like, when Collins points, I'm like, yeah, he was open, but I'm not tripping on, like, I was more so, for me, I didn't have the issue with Ben not throwing there. I'd rather Ben throw it out the back of the end zone, but obviously it's 4th down, so you have to try to make a play. That obviously wasn't it.
I think it was a bad throw, too. He short on that bad.
For me, I'm even 50-50 on the decision. I kind of thought you take the points early because I didn't think that Baltimore could keep up, and I felt like, I know it was me as a defender, me getting a stop on 4th down would give me so much more confidence than if you kick that field goal, and now I'm looking at this 3-0. So to me, that was kind of why I had an issue with the decision as a whole. I thought like when she didn't get it on 3rd down, man, kick the field goal because the biggest issue with them is going to be scoring points to keep up. Kick these field goals. Okay, cool. You're going to get more times down there. We saw how many times they got into the red zone. That was never an issue. But when you leave and you don't get any points, we're not banking on Joe Hayden getting a pick 6 off of RG3, not reading it being covered 2. I mean, to bank on that happening, that's crazy. And I don't think any of us could. And honestly, it's the second time that Coach T got lucky like that versus Baltimore. I remember the first time we played him last year where he defers the kick in overtime and it ends up working out. But it's like, bro, you can't guarantee that's going to work. I mean, how many times could you do that in that scenario working like that? Like, that's not realistic. So that's why yesterday for me, it was more so like, I didn't like the decision to even go for it. I think, man, you kick that field goal. We were stopping them. We literally had a 3-and-out, and then we had forced a fumble. They fumbled the snap. So it was like, bro, they weren't moving the ball. You never felt threatened by them offensively. Don't bail them out though. And I felt like you going for it on 4th down and ultimately not having success, you bailed them out.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's my thing, man. But the way I think you attack them, man, you still have to. The passing is going to be there. We're going to throw the ball, but it's not going to be as easy as we like. And I feel like if we continue this, just stay empty and just throw it, we'll move it 20-20. But then we're going to have these issues again in the red zone unless something happens, where we make a guy miss or we can catch a jump ball and stuff like that.
Why not just do that and then do the running game in the red zone? Unless you feel like it should be happening throughout the whole game.
I feel like it needs to happen throughout the whole game. If you get in the red zone and that's the only time now that you want to start trying to run the ball, you tip your hand. You're very predictable. Right. It's no different than if you run the ball 1st and 2nd down, throw it on 3rd down. It's predictable. If we get inside the 20 and now all of a sudden you want to, that running back's in now, Benny Snell's in. Okay, they're about to run the ball. Here we go now. Like, to me, I don't think that works against this particular defense. I do think, though, the tempo, I think that's going to give them a little bit of challenges because anytime you get great edge rushers, the tempo passing is going to make those guys get tired. It drains you. After 2 and 3 of rushes, 2-3 rushes, when the guy's getting out in 2 seconds, you get winded. So now by the time we're 3, 4, 5, 6 plays in, that rush has been, it loses the edge. It's not the same anymore. So I think that does help out. But I think that, man, when you have edge rushers like this, similar to how Baltimore attacked us, we saw what Baltimore's doing, a lot of counters, a lot of power runs where they're hitting it more direct inside, but using our edge rushers against themselves, right? We talked about Bud and TJ, how they're great edge rushers. We would see them get upfield, and these guys are hitting it more downhill, A gap, tight B gap. When I'm looking at this Washington football team, I see these edge rushers I just listed. I'm saying the same thing. Okay, let them get upfield. Let's hit it off inside of them, tight inside. That's how Buffalo, when they run the ball, the Bills, that's what they do with Zach Moss and Devin Singletary. They don't necessarily have the O-line that's just going to blow you off the field, but they use those edge rushers that are playing against them. They use it against them. They see the tackle. Like, oh, yeah, we're about to get after these guys. Okay, you rush the field you want to. We hitting it right inside, tight off for you. So to me, that's something that this team could look to do against this Washington football team because of that element of their game from a defensive standpoint. They have great edge rush. These guys get after the quarterback, but you use that against them. That's what I think, man.